This episode of the Accounting Insiders podcast is brought to you in part by Xero. Xero is a powerful cloud accounting software that improves efficiencies across your practice. With all client data stored on a single unified ledger, you and your clients can easily access and collaborate on the same set of books. Xero's advisor tools and automation solutions reduce time-consuming manual tasks and put data entry on autopilot. Work faster and more efficiently than ever before with Xero. Visit xero.com/accounting insiders to learn more. All right. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Accounting Insiders podcast. My name is Gary DeHart. I am the host of Accounting Insiders and the publisher of Insightful Accountant. And I've got a couple of guests with me today, John Witherspoon and Chris, I'm sorry, Sabby. I should have asked you that before we went live, but I didn't. So my apologies. So Chris, Sabby, they're both with Drake. One's in Drake Portals, one with Drake Pay. So we're just going to have an overall conversation around Drake and some of the Drake products, kind of Drake as a whole, and then some of the Drake products, specifically Portals and Pay, which you two guys work on. But before we dive in, just how about John, give us a little who you are and a little bit of your background, and then we'll roll over to Chris and just get on with our conversation.
Sure. Sounds good. Yeah. Thanks, Gary. Appreciate, excited to be here. Again, my name is John Witherspoon. I've been with Drake this is actually my 10th tax season. I came into Drake 10 years ago as a web content designer, and now I am part of the product management team, specifically working in Drake Portals, as Gary mentioned. And also I've been working with Chris with Drake Pay. So we're just excited to be here and excited to give you guys some information.
Great.
Yeah, I'm Chris Sabby. I'm a product manager with Drake Software. My primary focus has been Drake's online tax products, which includes Drake Xero, Web 1040, and Drake's 1040.com DIY offering. I've been with Drake for a little over 11 years now. So I started right out of college working in quality control for the online tax products team. Throughout my time here, I've worked as a business analyst, a systems analyst, and most recently I moved into product management, which I think fits just right for me. Got the opportunity to work on Drake Pay last year to get it started and to help get it to the market. So that was a really cool thing.
Okay. So since you're both in product management, right? What is that? What is product management from Drake's perspective?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think in a nutshell, we need a good way to listen to our customers and find out what they want, what they need, what problems they have that we can help solve for them. So our goal is to create the simplest products as we possibly can for our customers, and listening to our customers and learning from them is a big part of that. So a lot of what we do is talking to our customers, looking at the feedback we're getting, looking at the pain points they have, and just trying to come up with great solutions for them. Okay.
And then we work with our tech teams and our project management teams to, once we kind of come to a conclusion on, like Chris mentioned, a pain point that we want to address, and then we start building that with those teams, and then it just all comes together.
So you're kind of the go-between between customer, almost customer on the want side, right? Hey, here's what we'd love to see, and then on the tech side, trying to get your internal resources to build the product that the customer wants. Is that a fair way to put it?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And so I imagine that requires a lot of meetings, and on both sides, right? With the outbound with customer, but then internally, because there's only so many resources to go around in any given company, regardless how big you are. So you got to fight for those resources, I would imagine, internally. And so a lot of justification.
Right. Yeah. And part of that is staying in communication with our leadership team, to kind of letting them know where that project is along the way, and seeing if we need to pull other resources from different departments to try to make things happen. But yeah, we're kind of that middleman to between the customers and the actual product itself.
So what's the what does that typically look like? So how are you getting feedback from customers on a regular basis?
Really, it depends. We keep our ears open. We kind of review what comes in to our support lines. So that's a pretty good way to find out customer pain points and get customer feedback. But we also are proactive about it. We send out surveys. We visit the Drake software update schools and things like that, and just talk to our customers.
Yeah, and we have ways of monitoring some of our products that, if we see, someone going into a specific screen or going to a specific section in, like in one of our products, we can kind of monitor that, and we can, look into it and say, okay, well, why is everybody having to go here? Let's try to maybe adjust that flow. And that's kind of, where we get ideas for, being able to change the product, just kind of based off of watching how our customers use the product.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, because Drake is known for its customer service, right? And I think if like USAA and Drake, right, that's the two, that's what the two companies are known for, is customer service. And so I would imagine that is just a constant, feedback loop of how do we improve? How do we improve? How do you not get, as a product manager, and we'll dive into product in a minute, but since we're on this vein of the discussion, how do you not get, I guess, sidetracked or distracted by what is a really good idea, but it just can't make it onto the roadmap, this year, or maybe it's next year? How does that, what does that process look like? Because I'm sure, there's 100 things a year that you have to reject. But what's that decision process look like?
Yeah, that is true. There are so many things that we want to do, but we don't necessarily have the resources to do them all.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it just doesn't, like, it seems like a really good idea, but it doesn't make sense for the majority of our customers or something like that. So, I mean, for me, and I'll let John speak to his process, they might be similar. For me, I try to look at how many customers are going to benefit from this. And we can do that by like putting out a customer survey to see if it's something that customers want or that they need, or seeing how many support requests a certain pain point causes, and using that as a driver to decide what to do. Like if we're going to reduce 30% of support calls because we make a simple but impactful change, then that's a no-brainer.
Right.
But they aren't always that clear cut.
Yeah, we rely a lot on numbers, on the metrics of, what our customers are sending us. And then also comparing, the number of, say, reports for a specific feature to the impact that it may have on, the customers that have not specifically asked for that feature, but, may not even realize they need that feature. So, trying to balance those two, but it's the numbers are what's key there.
Right. And then who can argue the best internally for resources, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's
So
very true.
One more question around kind of what it is you guys do on a daily basis. And so we're going to roll the clock back to COVID. And I don't know Drake's structure. I know, you've got a big footprint in Franklin, but I know you do have some remote. But what did COVID look like from a product management standpoint? Not necessarily, how much did you launch, but how did COVID impact kind of that process?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Go ahead, John.
I think, with COVID, we lost a lot of in-person contact, so we had to really look into, what types of products or what type of enhancements to our products, not only just for our customers, but for our customers directly,
Right.
how to better serve them with that, that missing connection. I mean, we do, our Drake education team does update schools, and we weren't able to do those update schools. Those are in-person trainings that we offer to our customers on the product updates. So, we had to really step back and look at that and figure out, how we can, approach that from a kind of a remote session. I mean, simply kind of how we're doing here now, starting to look more into the remote functionality and get everything tied together and without missing a beat. We had to keep things going, had to get ready for season, and so that was pretty big, trying to juggle all of that.
And I mean, it also gave us a chance to focus on some of our remote like products, like portals that we saw a big surge in popularity during COVID, because a lot of customers, a lot of clients didn't want to go into the tax preparer's office to prepare their tax returns. So we got to focus on things like that, and just creating products that are easy to use when you're not right next to each other.
Right. Okay. Great. So who's the most comfortable talking about Drake overall? Kind of just the whole, not in detail, but just kind of what is in that. So if again, I've heard of Drake software, okay, but if I'm not that familiar, what is it that Drake has? What all is in that tech stack of Drake software?
You want to take this one, John?
Sure, I can. Yeah, so we've got Drake Tax, which is the Drake software. We've kind of rebranded it to Drake Tax. It's the tax preparation for professionals. We allow 1040 and business returns through there. We've got Drake Accounting, which is our bookkeeping solution that's integrated. Drake Portals, of course, which is our file transfer site, which also offers e-signatures. Our Drake Pay, new Drake Pay product is integrated in Drake Portals, along with in Drake Tax. Again, Drake Pay is our new payment facilitation product that we've got. And then we have our web-based solutions, like Chris mentioned earlier, that he's a big part of, our Web 1040 and Drake Zero. We've got our cloud hosting, where you can host your tax software out on the cloud. It's called Rightworks, excuse me. We've got multiple bank products, which allows our customers to, pull refunds from a directly from or prep fees from a refund, and also get those refunds to their clients faster. I mean, there's a ton of them. We've got audit protection through Tax Protection Plus. We've got Gruntworks, which is the ability to scan documents, and then those documents are digitally inserted into the Drake Tax. So that saves our customers a lot of time. And we've got an integrated tax book, which is like a tax research tool built into Drake Tax. So our customers can, they can look up information on specific, rules or certain forms or fields or any of that kind of stuff in that tax book.
Right. And just to quickly follow up on that, like one of the cool things about Drake's suite of products is that they're all integrated with each other. So one of our goals is to support our customers' business success, and by having a suite of fully integrated products, we think we're doing that.
Right. So the on the accounting side, is that a tool that the accountant tax preparer is using it, or is it open for their customer? So is it something? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's for the tax professional to use to issue 1099s or W-2s to their clients.
Gotcha. Okay. And I wasn't sure, so I figured it was worth asking that. So let's one of my notes here, which just from our pre-call, has security and platforms, and that's all I wrote down. Do you guys remember what we were talking about when we wanted to touch on security and platforms? Obviously, it's a critical component of any technology now. And I had a interview last week with actually somebody from Rightworks. I don't know if you know Roman Kepchik, but he basically works with Rightworks. He deals with basically their clients, kind of onboarding clients and just scary stuff, right? From a technology standpoint of how easy it is for people to get our data if we're not super secure. So can you touch on just security and platforms for a minute? And Oh, that may not be in your direct world.
Yeah, it's not in my direct world, but I can briefly touch on it. I know that like our customers, clients' personal information is, I mean, it's precious. We can't let that get into the wrong hands. So Drake follows all NIST standards and IRS regulations when it comes to customer security and data security. Yeah, John, you got anything there?
Yeah, I mean, like, we actually kind of, Chris and I were talking about earlier with like Drake Pay being, PCI compliant, that, those are a set of standards and rules that are set that, you kind of have to follow when you're working with, in this case with Drake Pay, we're working with, clients, bank account information, credit card information. So there is this, these sets of rules and regulations that have to be followed, and being compliant by those rules just makes that data even more secure and safe, so that, our customers can go to a web page and enter in a credit card information and not have to worry about, is somebody else going to see this? Is somebody else going to get it? That they can know that we've followed those standards and that their data is protected.
Okay, great.
And we do,
yeah,
we do have a team of security professionals who oversee any new projects or products that we're working on, just to make sure we're following all of those standards, because like there's a lot out there that we need to take into account when creating this stuff, and as product managers or as engineers working on it, we're not always going to know what we need to do. So we do have the oversight of a very helpful security team that helps us keep everything in line.
Right.
Yeah, they constantly monitor those rules and regulations, as we call them, and any changes that are made or any updates that need to be made, and then they reach out to to the product team, the project management teams, and start getting any changes in place that need to happen pretty quickly.
Now, I think most people within their profession have at least heard of Drake. I would think there's a broader awareness than having heard of, but I do want to, before we drill down into portals and pay, Drake is not just a small software company. And while, I think everybody knows, Microsoft, right? But I was on the website a minute ago, and I don't remember if I got this, if I'm going to get this correct or not. Was it 38 million returns that Drake processes in a year? Does that sound right?
Yeah, somewhere between 36, 37 million tax returns a year.
Give or take a million or
yeah.
two, right? And roughly, I think it said 70,000 customers or accounting firms.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Tax preparers. So yeah. So not your mom and pop, although it was started mom and pop, right? Many years ago in the 70s,
Yeah.
right? So it's a great American success story, I think. So let's talk about the two products you guys work on, portals and pay. We'll go with whichever one was first. Which one was first? Portals, was that first?
Yeah, so portals has been around longer than Drake Pay.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about that. What is, I think you had mentioned that portals during COVID really kind of acceptance went up. I would imagine that would have been the case. Tell me just a little bit about the portal product and what it is and how it helps the preparer.
Yeah, sure. So portals is, it's integrated within Drake Tax. It allows, our tax professionals to be able to send and receive files from their taxpayers. It's all done, it's web-based. It can be done on a cell phone. We have a mobile app for the taxpayers. So it's a file transfer, pretty simple, files back and forth. It's all, again, kind of going back to the security, it's all, transferred and maintained securely. We've got features where clients can collect like demographic data from their clients. That can be automatically imported straight into the tax return. We've got our e-signature capability. So if you need to get, your engagement letter signed or an 8879 signed, you can have that sent through portals. The taxpayer can sign it on their mobile device. They can sign it on their computer. And then also Drake Pay is integrated. So same thing, from within Drake Tax, you can send an invoice to portals, and that taxpayer can go on there, pay that invoice with their credit card, and they're done. I mean, with portals, in the workflow, you could work it out to where that your taxpayer would never even have to step foot in your office.
And are you seeing that? Are you seeing that happen with Drake customers, or are they getting to where they're just not really having as much interaction with their customers?
Yeah, and we are, and and one thing that we've noticed too, and this, could have been because of COVID or a side effect of COVID, but we're noticing that a lot of even tax professionals, they're able to work from home easier because of that capability. They're not having to sit in an office and make appointments for a customer to come in and, bring in paperwork. They can sit at home and, receive an image from a customer's cell phone of their W-2, and then they can key it into, the tax software if they've got it, the software installed locally, or if they're using, RightWorks to host their software. So we're adding that flexibility of the taxpayers can kind of be anywhere they want to be and still work with their preparer, but also the preparer can have more flexibility to not be tied down to just, one office space.
Right. And how about anything else on portals, or we want to hit on pay real quick? Well, it doesn't have to be quickly, but
yeah, we can talk about Drake Pay. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, tell us about Drake Pay. So when did it launch?
It launched this year. So it brand new for this tax season. It officially launched at the end of November. And we've seen a lot of client usage so far, which is awesome to see, like something that you start working on it and you build it out into what you think it should be, and then you get to see clients use it, which is great. But Drake Pay is, like, in a nutshell, it's just a flexible, secure way to collect credit and debit card payments from clients. It's fully integrated into Drake products, and it makes client payment really, really simple, and that was our goal. It's also a time saver that can get tax preparers their money faster than more traditional methods. Typically within 2 business days, the money is in their bank account after the payment is made.
Okay. And that's partnered up with, so we did do a short piece on it when you guys ran the press release. I forgot the name of the company that's kind of the backbone.
Yeah. We partnered with LaunchPay, who is a company that is really a veteran in the payments game. They have, I think, over 10 years of experience in payment facilitation, so they know their stuff. And like they take security seriously, and they've been really good partners in this. They've helped us create a pretty awesome product. Gotcha.
Anything, so you built it, right? And kind of like you said, it's great when you get to see it go from thought to from concept to design to live. What does that look like? Okay, great. The product's live. It's out there. This is both for portals and pay. Product's live. How much does it really change year to year?
So I'll touch on Drake Pay, and then John, you can talk about the portals process a little bit. But our goal when we created Drake Pay was just to create a really easy to use payment acceptance feature. We had a pretty short runway for getting this to the market because it was about mid 2023, so mid last year, when we really geared up and started working on it. Okay. And our goal was to get a product out there that was easy to use, intuitive, simple, and most of all that it worked and it was secure, right? But that was really just phase 1 of our Drake Pay offering. The cool thing about us developing this in-house is that we have full control over where we're going to go with it, what we're going to do with it, and we can really take the time to listen to our customers and to explore the data that we're seeing to see, what's next for Drake Pay, what should we add, what do our customers want, what do they need, what doesn't work that we can make better. So we have a list of things in the backlog that we're going to be working on in the next couple of years with Drake Pay. So our goal is to make it like a really, really flexible, kind of intuitive product. And we have room to grow, which is great.
Right. Okay. How about from your side, John? Do the portals change much year to year? I mean, since you launched it up till now?
Yeah, so Portals was originally launched or written, I guess I should say, back in 2012. So it's been around for a while. It was branded at the time as Secure File Pro. We rebranded it to Drake Portals, but it's still hosted on the Secure File Pro domain. Um, and at that point, it was strictly just file transfer, files back and forth to your clients, could keep them organized, safely secured out there. We started looking into more what, again, kind of like what Chris was saying, functionality. When I came into it, it was just that file transfer. Then we started looking into, well, what are customers wanting in this remote, relationship that they're building with their clients? And data collection was the next thing. So we started looking into building, you know, um, being able to collect their taxpayer data, name, address, dependent information that could just be imported into the return. So we started working on that. We started building in the e-signature solution, saying, well, yeah, we have signature pads that are sitting on a desk, but it'd be nice if this taxpayer could, sign a document sitting on their couch at home or wherever they might be. So we started adding those type of features in. Communication back and forth between our preparers and our taxpayers, sometimes can be hard, but sometimes can also need to be secure. So obviously, as we know, email is not the best way to say, hey, can you send me your bank account information? Obviously, we don't do that through email, but in Portals, there's a messaging feature that is completely secure that you can send that type of data back and forth. And it's all integrated within Drake Tax. So yeah, and it's the same thing. We built Drake Pay. Drake Pay got built into Drake Portals, and every single day we're collecting feedback from customers of new enhancements, new features that they want to see in Portals, so that we can get as many people into that product, with the understanding that it's continuing to grow and that is 100% integrated into Drake Tax. So if you're already using Drake Tax, it's kind of a no-brainer. It's like, okay, well, if I can collect my client's data and it just get imported straight into the tax return, I might as well just use Drake Portals to do that.
Right. Makes sense to me. Why isn't everyone doing it, right? So does that do you either of you see yourselves working yourself out of a job? And not necessarily I'm going to get canned by Drake, but if as a product manager, if is that kind of inherent in the role, do you end up kind of getting the product to a point to where, well, it doesn't necessarily need my skill set, I can go work on something else?
Well, we're lucky in the sense that like technology is always changing, right? And we need to be on top of the latest trends. We need to keep our eye out for new technology that we can use to make our products better for our customers. And as long as technology is changing and there's new capabilities and new things that we can use, I think there's going to be room for improvement. Every year our products are a little bit better, and I think that's going to continue.
Yeah, and I think, looking into, if there's any type of products that our customers are using that are not one of the Drake, the Drake Tax suite of products, looking at them and saying, okay, well, why are they using that instead of our product? Maybe it's a specific feature. Maybe they just don't even know about it. So that's the marketing, we gotta go with marketing. But trying to figure out, how, if somebody's using Drake Tax as their main tax software, how can we get them into that full tax suite, with them understanding that everything is integrated, and just constantly looking at what's out there, new products that come, new features that the customers are wanting.
But what's typically the reason that somebody would not be using, let's say, all of the products or some of the key products, within the offering? And because like we currently use Zoho, and we're actually moving off of Zoho, but Zoho One is an amazing suite of tools. I mean, it has everything, literally has everything you need to run a business, and it's super cheap. But it has 45 different apps that are included with it, and we use two. And primarily because we're a really small business and we just don't have anybody that can spend time to learn the new products, or to go, hey, wow, this could, if we did this, then saves all this time and effort. What are the key reasons you find that people aren't using Like if they're not using the portal, why would they not be using your portal? Why would they use anything else?
Yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. Like a lot of these smaller businesses, they just don't have the time and resources, especially during the busy tax season,
Yeah.
to learn a new product. So one of our goals is to get the education of our products out into their hands, maybe earlier during the tax season or outside of the tax season, and just make it really clear and simple to see what our products do and how they're going to benefit you.
Yeah, and like Chris said, educating the customers on, they may know that we have a portal, but they may say, well, I don't have any customers that I need to transfer files back and forth, but not knowing that, hey, portals is more than just file transfer. It's got e-sign in it, it's got Drake Pay in it. Even if they purchase portals and just use the Drake Pay portion of it, that could really benefit them in saving a ton of time of customers having to come in or customers bringing them a paper check that they've got to then take to the bank, when it can all just be done, electronically through the portal.
Yeah. So awareness is number one, and that and you can message through like Drake Tax. Is that right? Can you message to the preparer?
Yeah, so in our document manager, we have like what we call a Drake Portals pane. It's a section in the Drake Documents Manager, which is Drake Documents is integrated through Drake Tax. And that's got a messaging feature in portals. So the taxpayer, mobile device for portals, it's just like you're texting on your phone, except it's done behind the login of Drake Portals, and then it's done within Drake Tax. So it's all secure through the portal.
Okay. And so I'm just going to wrap up and let you guys have a couple other things you want to touch on after I ask this question. But so if I'm a non-Drake user and I decide, you know what, these guys are brilliant, I have to start using Drake software now. What does that look like? What is that process? I doubt anybody, I wouldn't think very many people are going to make that decision in the middle of tax season, but I'm sure there's some outliers. But what does that look like for a tax preparer to onboard, to come on board with Drake software?
The easiest.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, we can give you the number to our sales department. I'll tell you, we have an awesome group of sales guys and ladies over there, and you reach out to one of them, you can explain your business type to them, how many people you have working in your office, how many clients you do, and they can walk you through every one of these products that we've discussed today, and they can get you onboarded to every single one of them. If you need it, they can say, hey, are you going to be exchanging files with your clients? Oh yeah, you're definitely going to need portals. Let's get you onboarded to Drake Pay. That way you can collect, your payments. Our sales team, would be that's who I would send somebody to if they said, hey, I want to get signed up for Drake Pay or Drake software and use Drake Pay and portals, or look into Web 1040 or Drake Zero.
We also have a fully dedicated onboarding team, and their main objective is to help people get going. So they proactively reach out to new customers, make sure that they have everything they need, schedule one-on-one sessions with them if they need help getting set up or getting their client data converted into something that Drake can use. So we just have a great team of people that are around to help. That's what we do best, I think.
Okay. Any topics that either of you wanted to cover that we haven't covered, or you think is relevant for today's discussion?
Chris, did you want to touch just a little more on like Drake Zero and kind of what that is compared to, say, Drake Tax?
Yeah, I'll mention it just because it's the products I've worked on for such a long time. Drake Zero is really Drake's. Think of it as Drake Tax on the web. It's currently primarily only for 1040 returns, but it is a super simple way to create 1040 tax returns on the web, so that you don't need to go through the install process or worry about managing your data files on your hard drive or anything like that. Everything's stored in the cloud. It's easy to create and access and e-file tax returns, and I'm really proud of our Drake Zero and Web 1040 products. They've come a long way. I think they're really user friendly, and we're still working on them to make them better.
Yeah, and with those being part of that, that Drake suite, you get that, that customer service and that integration with the other products that you do with Drake Tax, within Drake Zero.
Yeah, and that's a good point. So Drake Zero and Web 1040 are also integrated with portals, so you can send tax returns directly to your client through Drake portals from within Drake Zero. So you don't need to go to a bunch of separate apps to do anything. You can do it all right there from the tax return experience, really. Same thing with Drake Pay. We try to make the payment like just super simple. So there's a big pay now button in there. So right within the tax return preparation experience, you just click pay, either enter in or swipe your customer's card data, and then we'll take care of the rest for you. We'll write that invoice number to the bill, put it in the reporting, and then send that money to your bank on the back end.
Gotcha. All right. Well, gentlemen, I certainly appreciate you taking some time just to give us an update on what's going on at Drake. And is it drakesoftware.com? Is that where the best place to point people?
Yes, sir. That's
right.
it.
And then events. I know you guys go to just about every event that's out there, as well as your own, and update schools. And do you have, do you know just off the top of your head, or do you have it written down somewhere, kind of the main or the bigger events that you'll be at this coming year?
I know we'll be at the update schools towards the end of the year. Other than that, I don't have anything jotted down. You, John?
I don't have anything. I'm not sure if they've set the dates for those or not. If they have, I don't have them pulled up in front of me.
Okay, but they can go to drakesoftware.com and I'm sure there'll be ways to reach out to you there. So
definitely.
Again, John and Chris, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And then we need to maybe do this on a quarterly basis, just to kind of say, hey, here's what we're up to, here's what's changed, and here's what's on the roadmap.
Sure.
Sounds really cool. Yeah.
Right. All right. Appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah,
thanks
for having us.
Have a great week. Thank you. This episode of the Accounting Insiders podcast is brought to you by Out of the Box Technology. Out of the Box Technology is your partner in accounting data services. With over 7,500 industry migrations performed and an expansive network of third-party integrations, a partnership with Out of the Box will augment your advisory practice and turbocharge client accounting operations. Visit outoftheboxtechnology.com/insightful-accountant to get started.